board recently? Okay. Why was it on me?
I'm checking on Arizona right now.
Okay.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Good morning. Let's call this meeting to order. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the House Committee on Finance, October 21, 2025. If the clerk would please take the roll.
Chair Tisdel.
Here.
Representatives Frisbee.
Here.
Vanderwall.
Present.
Leitner.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Posthumus.
Here.
Alexander.
Here.
Aragona. Schutte.
Here.
Hoskins.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Neely.
Here.
Breen. Young.
Here.
Pies.
Present.
Mr. Chair, you have 14 members present. You do have a quorum.
Oh, very good. Representative Frisbee moves to adopt the minutes from September 16 with no objectives. Well, we do have an objective. That's to pass it. No objections. The bang of the gavel makes it official. We're going to move to testimony this morning. We've got one individual that's caught up in traffic, so we'll accommodate him. House Bill 4088. Representative Slagh. We'll jump right in.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee for allowing me to be here to testify on this bill. So 4088 was born out of a number of conversations I had with constituents, many who are retired and on fixed incomes. As property values have skyrocketed over the past 5 years, so have assessed values of homes. And although Proposal A is doing exactly what it's supposed to in capping that taxable value increase, there's no corresponding cap for the assessed value, as that's required to be set at 50% of the true cash value of a home. Well, many older residents have been in their homes for many years, and their property tax values are relatively low compared to its assessed value. However, some have downsized even, but have actually seen their property taxes go up because the property tax pop up on other homes. It's a phenomenon that I'm sure many of you are aware of. Also, first-time homebuyers are experiencing property tax bills that are significantly higher than if they had bought that exact same home just a few short years ago because of the overall increases in home prices. How does all this fit into this discussion? Well, it does because under the homestead property tax law, when the taxable value of a home is over a certain amount, right now that's about $160,000 a year, it makes a taxpayer ineligible to claim the credit, even if their income qualifies them. While the original taxable value limit of $135,000 is now indexed to increase in the cost of the consumer price index, CPI does not take into full account the increases in the housing market. So housing is obviously different than just CPI. To address this particular bill would do two things. First, it would immediately increase the taxable value phase-out number to $196,500, which was calculated, was calculated by starting with $135,000 and increasing it based on the increase in the house price index since 2020. Rather than CPI, you'd look at house price index. Secondly, it would index the taxable value phase-out to the house price index each year instead of CPI, which actually would more accurately reflect what is happening in the housing market. I purposely did not change the income phase-out part of it to ensure that the credit continues to be available to those who it has always been intended for, mainly either older homeowners on limited incomes or those just starting out in their home ownership experience. I believe this bill is pro-taxpayer, pro-home ownership, and just makes common sense. And I'd welcome any questions and ask for your support.
Representative Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this would just be going forward. It would not go back to any previous tax year to give anybody a credit.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Young, Rep. Young.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Representative, for being here today. So have you spoken to Treasury, how much this might cost in terms of this credit?
I did not specifically do that, but let me just check with my staff member to make sure that it wasn't done, okay? Eric?
No, but it shouldn't have a negligible impact since we're not increasing the income phase out.
Okay. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. Everybody heard that? All right. Very good. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move along to Representative Tyrone Carter, House Bill 4041. Okay. Begin.
All right. Thank you, Chair Tisdel and members of the committee for allowing me to testify on House Bill 4041 and speak to the H2 sub. With me, I have Detroit City Assessor Alvin Horn. Currently, the General Property Tax Act allows a local taxing jurisdiction to grant a full or partial exemption from property taxes for persons that the taxing jurisdiction concludes cannot contribute to the public charges because of poverty. To receive the poverty exemption, the property owner must apply for this exemption every year. House Bill 4041 would authorize a local assessing unit to allow principal residents granted a property exemption to remain exempt from property taxes for 3 years without having to reapply under certain circumstances. That exemption could be in whole or in part. The bill also includes a requirement for an annual certification by the taxpayer that their circumstances have not changed from the previous year. The requirements to qualify for exemption are as follows. The person has not had a change in ownership or occupancy status of the person eligible for exemption, and they are on a fixed income solely from public assistance, not subject to significant annual increases beyond the rate of inflation like Social Security income, Social Security disability, or retirement benefits. As we know, anyone can have substantial year-to-year changes in income or assets due to marriage, inheritance, changes in household members, or other circumstances. This could become a problem for the taxpayer if they become ineligible and they have to pay back several years of wrongly exempted taxes, and could also open the program to greater opportunities for fraud. I'll now turn it over to Detroit City Assessor Alvin Horn, who will speak more about the legislation and answer any questions.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Alvin Horn, Deputy CFO and Assessor for the City of Detroit. I'd like to emphasize first that this bill will not include or open up the number of people who are already applying for the poverty exemption. The people we are referring to have already applied for it. They already qualify. They receive income. Their only income is from Social Security. They're already seniors. Their circumstances are not going to change. This bill simply simplifies the process for them and for local assessing units throughout the state. It allows them, once they've been approved, to remain on the exempt roll for up to 3 years. It requires the local assessor to audit to ensure that they remain eligible for the exemption, but doesn't expand the universe of people who already apply, who are eligible for this. It simply simplifies the matter for both the taxpayer and for the local unit. Thank you.
Okay, if I can summarize real quickly, and I guess I'm doing things a little out of order here. We should have adopted the sub first, and we'll do that quickly but basically, an individual or a household is receiving Social Security disability, retirement, or supplemental.
Correct,
That's
yes,
their
sir.
source of income.
Correct, yes, sir.
And the probability of a change in the future may be limited. So we're taking it to a 3-year period instead of adding the work to the individual and to the assessor's office every year.
Correct, yes, sir.
Would you like to move to adopt the sub, H2 sub, which says all of that?
Absolutely.
Representative Carter makes that motion. We vote to adopt the sub.
On the motion to adopt the H2 substitute, Chair Tisdel,
Yes.
Representatives Frisbee,
Yes.
Vanderwall,
Yes.
Leitner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Posthumous,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Aragona, Shooty,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Breen,
Aye.
Young,
Yes.
Pies.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 14 yea, 0 nay, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
And that substitute is adopted. Do we have any cards on this? We do have a couple of cards wishing to speak. Not wishing to speak, but neutral. Peter Mormon, Department of Treasury. Not wishing to speak. In support, John Lamacchia, Michigan Municipal League. Do we have a question now? Rep. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is this modeled in any way on the permanent total disabled veterans exemption and their extenuating time limits and don't have to reapply every year?
Through the chair, yes, it is, sir. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Representative, for bringing this forward. Thank you, Mr. Horn. Thank you, Representative, for bringing this forward. Thank you, Mr. Horn, for traveling here. Good to see you. I just had a quick question. Is this something that we did during COVID? Could you explain that?
Through the chair, this was based on the governor's executive orders, which did allow a local unit to extend the exemption under certain circumstances. So you're correct, ma'am. This is based exactly on those executive orders.
Representative Alexander.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question. Does this also relieve them of other obligations such as drain assessments and special assessments that might be for garbage and whatnot?
Through the chair, no, sir. This is for taxes and taxes alone. It does not
Only.
cover any fees or any other.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Anything else? I guess that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, committee.
Now we'll jump back to the voting on House Bill 4799. This is from Representative Leitner. Representative Aragona, you move to adopt? Or send it along, yes. Or to,
We didn't get the amendment. So
we didn't get the amendment, so we're
No
just
amendments,
moving
we're just getting this
to
up.
move forward with recommendation.
We have to
Do
adopt
we have
the
to-
sub.
H3 substitute.
Okay. Is there an H3 sub? I got you. All right, there is an H3 sub. Representative Leitner, would you like to talk to that at all, or would just,
Sure.
and then move?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My sub specifies that a postmark date must be considered the date of receipt if the date is not less than 5 days before the applicable due date, and the taxpayer can provide documentation as to the validity of the postmark date. And then if a postmark date is later than the 5 days before the applicable due date, but not later than the due date, the postmark date may be considered the date of receipt. It also states that if an online payment is accepted, the online submission date must be considered the date of receipt. The substitute specifies that electronic payments do not include payments by external banking applications or peer-to-peer payment systems, only established platforms maintained by the tax collecting unit. And thank you to your office and yourself also for helping with clarifying language to get these in a better place, more specific for entities out there. And with that, I move my substitute.
Okay, let's take a vote on adopting the sub.
All right, on the motion to adopt the H3 substitute, Chair Tisdel,
Yes.
Representatives Frisbee,
Yes.
Vanderwall,
Yes.
Leitner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Posthumous,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Aragona,
Yes.
Shooty,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Breen,
Aye.
Young,
Yes.
Pies.
Pass.
Mr. Chair, you have 14 yea, 0 nay, 1 pass. The motion prevails.
The H3 sub is adopted. Now we have an individual that wishes to speak. John Glabensky, City of Grand Rapids.
Good morning, Chairman Tisdel.
Good morning. There you go.
I should know that. Mine's green if I have to hit it at the city. Good morning, Chairman Tisdale and committee members. I'm looking at 4799 and I'm late to the table. I just want to state Grand Rapids is in a position where we have lots of different electronic payment processes. We also take a different view of postmarks. We actually accept postmarks 7 days after due date. We look through our mail, we pull those out, we process them as on-time payments. The current process, as I see it, isn't broken. The community members that I talk to, the townships, the other cities, the villages, aren't finding this to be an issue. So when I look at this, this change is impacting every municipality. Grand Rapids isn't going to be impacted that greatly, but I'm thinking about my village up in Ontonagon, Michigan that's got to sort through all this and try and figure out what is going to be a postmark and what isn't. When I look at this, it doesn't focus on best practice. I didn't see any collaboration or communication with those of us that are actually doing this work that actually can show you how many items we get with no postmark, and then we have to make a determination. These bills are coming from Utah, South Dakota, Delaware, Florida, Texas, major processing centers, and then we're supposed to look at that and try and figure it out. I had one come in yesterday in the mail. There were 3 checks in that envelope. We received it on the 20th. 2 of them were dated October 15th. 1 check was dated today. How do I receive a check yesterday to be paid today? So these processing companies have ways to change those dates that are going to make it difficult for us to make a determination on that postmark. So I really think that where we are with 4799 is we need to be more of a collaborative effort to try to make this a better bill. I don't think it does that purpose yet. There's language in there that I believe should be stricken from it. Assessments. There shouldn't be any language about assessment. You just approved a bill 4041 that was very consistent in the fact that it only dealt with taxes. This should only deal with property taxes, no other notifications. We have a very, very good system in place right now to handle communications from our community. I do not receive calls from taxpayers saying, why didn't my item get posted on time? Why wasn't it paid on time? Where was the postmark? We use the technology, we scan everybody's envelope now because we want to prove when we received it, when that postmark was. I mean, the last thing we want to do is detrimentally impact a taxpayer. That's why we put things in place. I'm blessed with the fact that we have $130 million comes in every year for mailed and walked-in payments for property taxes. $70 million is now electronic payments. Electronic
My
payments.
next
date
question.
stamp. Pardon?
That was my next question.
And we get $110 million from escrow companies. We usually get an electronic file 3 days before the end of the month, and then an ACH usually hits our bank the last day of the month with all the escrow company payments. So we really have put things in place to make it very easy for a taxpayer to pay their bill, to pay it on time, and we provide multiple notifications. We notify people on our website, if you're trying to pay a tax bill after July 31st, be warned you need to pay it before or there will be an interest or penalty payment. We really take the time to go out and reach out to our residents and our citizens. So I'm wondering, where this came from or came up, because I'm not hearing it from my residents, my communities, my organizations, large businesses, the taxpayer down the street that's writing $1 million check versus the person writing a $100 check on a partial payment. So I really think that we need to make sure that this is only focused on property taxes, not assessment notices, no other communications, nothing that's out there, because we have a specific property tax processing calendar that we follow. And I really want to make sure that when we also talk about things like, when I read the postmark date is later than the postmark date described in a subdivision, but not later than the applicable due date, the postmark date may be considered the date of receipt. I read that and I think of it, that's just an on-time payment. What would I do with it? It's just the way the language is written. It's confusing. And if I'm going to be accepting somebody's validation of what their thought is, this is my on-time payment, here's my proof versus a postmark, I'm going to set that bar pretty high. Because the way things can be altered now, someone's going to try to game the system and shove something in. There's nothing that says that Pitney Bowes or Quadient owners can't run 20, 30, 40 envelopes dated July 31st and drop them in the mail on August 15th. And then I've got to sit there and make a determination whether that's on time or late. I know a little bit about Pitney Bowes, and if I get payments like that, I'm going to report to Pitney Bowes as fraud. Because the idea is Pitney Bowes says if you're stamping it July 31st, you're dropping it in the mail July 31st, not 2 weeks later. So I
In their agreement to the customer.
Yes, sir, 100%. So I'm not fully opposed to the idea of this type of change, but I think it needs to be reworded and rewritten, and I'd really like to be part of a collaborative process on how best practices are in the municipal environment of how we can support that and move forward. I think the last thing we as treasurers ever want to do is charge somebody a late fee that's not due. I don't want to be in the business of collecting late fee revenues. The work that I've done in terms of electronic payments really contributed to a $200,000 reduction in late fees for our water bills. So we want to make sure we can address everybody's viewpoint, and we take every citizen, every business's input to be very thoughtful in our approach and try to make sure that we are not detrimentally impacting anyone.
All right. Well, you brought up best practices. It sounds like you've done your best to institute those, and so that's appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Questions? Anyone? Nothing? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman.
I have
Thank
some
you, committee.
cards to read in here. Not wishing to speak, opposed to the bill, John Lamacchia, Michigan Municipal League. Not wishing to speak, opposed to the bill, Judy Allen, Michigan Township Association. Not wishing to speak in support of the bill, Brian Schoaf, Detroit Regional Chamber. Not wishing to speak in support of the bill, Tim Langholz, NFIB. Not wishing to speak in support of the bill.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I was really on a roll there, and not wishing to speak, but in support of the bill, Randy Gross, Michigan Chamber. Do we have a motion to move the bill forward? Representative Leitner, please call the roll.
On the motion to report with recommendation as sub H3, Chair Tisdel.
Yes.
Representatives Frisbee,
Yes.
Vanderwall,
Yes.
Leitner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Posthumus,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Aragona,
Yes.
Schutte,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Pass.
Carter,
Pass.
Neely,
Pass.
Green,
Pass.
Young,
Pass.
Pies.
No.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yea, 1 nay, 5 pass. The motion prevails.
We'll move that forward with recommendation. There are no absent members. Nothing else in front of this committee. Meeting is adjourned.